Hey, what's going on? This is AJ Styles, your WWE champion. And right now, you're listening to The William Barron Show on iTunes and iHeartRadio. And you are phenomenal.
Yeah. When's the last time you saw a box of Wheaties?
I was actually just thinking about that the other day. I was just thinking about that because we were at a restaurant in Texas, and they had Wheaties, but they didn't have Frosted Flakes, which is what my daughter wanted. I was like, it's the same thing, honey, just put sugar on it. And she's like, I don't want Wheaties. And then it got me to thinking, I was like, when's the last time I did see Wheaties? Like, I used to eat that shit all the time when I was a kid.
Right on, yeah.
I used to eat it all the time.
Did you have the Bruce box?
The Bruce Jenner?
The Bruce Caitlin box?
What?
Well, I mean,
It's the Bruce Jenner.
it was Bruce at the time.
Back,
right?
yeah. Yeah, no, I didn't have it. I saw it. I was the one that had the Michael Jordan boxes, and
With the tongue out, right?
Anyway, welcome to the William Barron Show, the breakfast edition. Is that what we're going with?
Daybreak edition.
Daybreak edition.
I've only said this like 5 times, but then it is your show.
Well.
I think you get to decide.
Okay. The Daybreak edition. Aaron and I have decided that we're going to try and do a couple of shows, like touching on a lot of different things, not just I don't know, skydiving, but
You need to do it.
I do. I really want to. I'm going to do it. We are brought to you by T.A. Price. She has got 31 poems available on Amazon. You can go there. Ron Rash, one of the South's most prominent Southern writers, says that T.A. Price is one of North Carolina's finest poets. I can't read her excerpts due to copyright infringements and laws, but it is amazing. Go to taprice.com.
Poet, huh?
Look for them. Yeah, poetry. 31 poems available on Amazon.
31
poems.
It's kind of like Baskin-Robbins, but for poetry.
31 different flavors
Right.
of.
And I don't mean to
what goes
denigrate
on
your sponsor in any way. But maybe people will remember it more since I
31,
made them
yeah.
think of ice cream, which is a positive, right?
That is. That's very possible. That could definitely work.
So I'll be looking to see some of that ad revenue now. Thank you.
So we've got what is going on here. Aaron is teaching me how to basically make coffee in a combat situation here.
This is what is often termed a French press.
A French press.
I might call it an American press. Right?
Okay, so what is this? Is this actually
a freedom press? That's what it is.
Is this something that's used like in the field for coffee?
No. Well, I mean, I think people do. I think people have. My wife, when she was overseas years ago, she had used this, and I think other methods to do this. But I think this is just a different method of steeping the coffee.
So what you do is you put the grinds in the bottom, you heat up the water separately.
It's like a pitcher.
Water.
It's like a stainless steel pitcher that we've got here. And plenty of people, if they know what a French press is, they've probably seen it before.
Okay.
This one happens to be stainless steel. It's just nice. And then you put the grounds in the bottom. You heat up the water. And then you pour, get it all to the level that you want, and then wait a few minutes, let it really steep, and then slowly take the plunger that comes with it, and you depress that.
And now what that
down
will,
into the grounds.
And what will that will do is that'll get the grounds out, so you're not drinking grounds.
And there's like a mesh.
And you're doing it very, very slowly.
Yeah, you got to be slow with it. You got to have a cool hand. Helps if your name is Luke, right? So yeah, you push all that out the way, and there's this little mesh circle that's underneath the bottom of the plunger that really helps get a lot of the excess grounds. But yeah, you gotta get in on this because I think you'd dig it. Some nice, well brewed coffee. Now, I am not quite the coffee connoisseur that my good friend Scott is. Scott, who is a phenomenal guitarist.
Okay.
He makes it a point to be very particular about how he drinks and prepares coffee for not only himself but for his friends. And he picks these like gourmet coffees. I mean, exceptionally good.
Okay. Now, do I need to let this sit?
No, you can drink right away. It's done the sitting. You know, it's still coffee. I mean, it's
I
not
see
like,
what you're saying. Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, this is
it's
very,
just a more
it's like
intimate
yeah.
kind of method for preparation. You really get into the process a little bit, and
It's very strong.
Yes,
extremely strong.
Well, I did do like 3.5 tablespoons worth of coffee grounds.
Okay.
In this. So it's going to be a little more. But to say that about the process, just briefly here, what I do with that is, like I told you earlier, I heat the water up and then I'll pour it half full. And this was Scott's recommendation on how I should do this with a French press. Pour it half full of water, wait about 30 seconds. Then pour the rest of the water in and let that sit for a good 4 minutes and really let it steep. Don't go too much beyond 4. Otherwise, you're just going to start getting a little too bitter a taste. And then you plunge and just enjoy.
It's very good.
Yeah,
very
man.
good.
Absolutely.
Strong, but very good.
Have you ever done cold brew coffee?
I cannot stand
Not
the
a fan.
idea of cold coffee.
You
Like,
could
I just
heat this up, but I'm
can't.
talking about the way in which you prepare it,
No,
as
no.
opposed to heating it with hot water or steeping
No.
it with hot water.
No.
So if you prepare it with cold water, what's awesome about that, and I encourage you to try, even if you heat it up after you've made it, brew it cold. So you take like this little mesh bag container. Oh, ding, 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 by the way.
Go ahead.
You take this little mesh bag thing, you put some coffee grounds in it, kind of like you'd put tea into a little bag and steep it if you just had the straight tea leaves.
Okay.
Right? You steep it like that, and you put it in a pitcher of cold water. You put that in the fridge overnight, basically, and just let it steep. And maybe 12 to 14 hours.
Jesus Christ.
Your bitterness level in the coffee is reduced by about 70%. The acidity has gone way down. And I can either drink that straight or with maybe just the smallest splash of milk or something, and it's fantastic. But yeah, I highly recommend cold brewed coffee.
Yeah, I'll never forget. There was this one time. This was on me and my ex-wife's first anniversary. My parents took us both on a trip to. We went to London, Paris. My personal favorite was Norway. Loved Norway.
Northby?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, Northby, yeah.
It was gorgeous, man. Of course, we went in the summer, so I can't imagine how cold the winters get, and I probably wouldn't want to live there right now. But man, it was just picturesque. They had this skateboarding park where they let kids come and spray paint. Like they dedicated this park. Hey,
Right.
you guys can come over and spray paint all you want.
That makes sense.
Get that artistic thing out of your
Absolutely.
But there was never anywhere else. I mean, it was a way of being like, hey, we appreciate you as artists.
Right.
Use this as your canvas. Please don't canvas the rest of the small
That's
little
very
town.
funny. Yeah. Have you heard of like parents doing that in their homes? Like they'll get a wall that's just like a chalkboard wall, or just like you can draw on this wall with crayons.
Right.
They make paint that's designed for
Right.
that.
Right.
And they're like, yeah, you want color on the walls? Go for it. Draw me a
This
mural,
one.
whatever you want. Right. And hopefully it gets the kids to connect that this is the wall for that, not the rest of the house.
Right.
I'm still working on that with some of my children.
Oh, no, I nipped
So funny.
that pretty quick with the kids.
Did you?
But so I'm in Norway. Me and Brittany, I love grabbing coffee, and there's nothing like sitting outside. You know, like I had to do it in London. I had to find a cobblestone road in one of those little corner cafes, and I had to sit outside and read a book and have a cup of coffee. That was one of the things that I wanted to do while I was in London.
Was it one of those tiny little 6-ounce ones?
In London, it wasn't, but in Norway, it was,
Yeah.
and I was amazed at how completely annoying Americans are. This coffee shop, I'm standing in line just like the rest of us, and this guy cannot tolerate how long it is taking to get his little 6-ounce cup of coffee. He's amazed. Meanwhile, there are like 3 or 4 people like right behind the counter that are preparing his coffee, his little 6-ounce cup of coffee, and he is complaining about the time that it's taking, and he's yelling at them, cussing at them. He eventually gets thrown out. But like 3 or 4 people preparing his one cup of coffee, and they're doing it like all fresh grounds. Like I don't know all the science behind it. I'm sure you probably do with this sort of thing, but
a small bit, perhaps.
man,
I'm a novice.
they spent so much time and care into every single little cup of coffee. That's probably why it was like $10 a piece. But
Yeah, I don't know that that's necessarily I would hesitate to say it's simply an American problem because there's so many Americans that are not that way. But yes, we are accustomed to fast.
Now.
Yeah.
I want it 5 minutes ago. I mean, because you can go into McDonald's, get a 36-ounce cup of coffee in like 2 minutes. But you would think that somebody that's going to those different areas would have a little bit more culture in mind to where, okay, this is not America. This is not a McDonald's. This is Pierre's coffee shop.
Yeah, I think that is more of a character trait issue. It's just like realizing the value in cultivating some non-jerkishness.
What could possibly
I'm not the center of the universe here.
What could have possibly been going wrong for that guy? We were on a cruise ship. We were stopping at all these ports, and it was just a whole lot of culture. And it was just like, man,
some people don't have that trained up in them, and you have to intentionally do it, or you have to have parents that have to do it. Not all parents inculcate that in their children. I'm sorry, I'm throwing out like the $50 words. Inculcate. I just heard myself say that.
Very nice.
I do that sometimes.
Stephen A. Smith.
Is that who I am?
Yeah.
Tell me who's Stephen A. Smith.
Stephen A. Smith. He's a loudmouth sports guy, and he loves using big ass words that just to make. He's pretty much an idiot, but he uses the big words to make himself feel better.
Right.
And everybody else on the show always gives him a hard time, like. You're like a walking thesaurus, and I hardly... And then when he messes up the words and he misuses them, having the other co-hosts point it out, and it's fantastic television.
See, I come by it honest because both my parents were college professors. They both worked at Illinois Central College, and then my mom still works in the academic field as a... I think she's... I'm trying to remember... I want to say it's Abilene Christian University somewhere in Texas. I could have that completely wrong. It might be a different one, and I just misjobbed my mother. I don't know how you'd say. Yeah, I'm real intelligent now. I say misjobbed. Right? So no, she helps like doctoral students prepare their dissertations. I think was one of the big things. So. And they both have background in English, as a big part of their education. So, I grew up around that, and I don't think I had any hope of not coming out of that house with like a stupid vocabulary. I just had to learn a little bit better when's the time to use it, and I still don't think I have a great sense of that. Sometimes I just want to throw it out there because to me the word makes sense. I'm like, well, this is probably the most efficient word to use in this. Scenario, and it just is instantaneous for me. It's
now, have you ever been because words have always been fascinating to me.
Yes.
I loved English class, creative writing, all that stuff, journalism. Words have always been just amazing to me, and I did a lot of writing. Like whether it be songs, stories, short stories. I've always wanted to write a novel. That's like a bucket list.
Are you started? Where's the first chapter? Get on it.
No.
Come on.
I haven't gotten on it yet, but I'm thinking.
Need to fix that.
Have you listened to the last couple of episodes? Did you listen to the live episode that I did from South Padre?
Yeah, I did.
With the cowboy land?
Yes.
What do you think of that?
I dig it. I dig it.
Seriously, I'm asking your opinion.
I dig it.
How much would you be willing to pay for a week getaway? No phones. You have access to them, as I said, but no phones, and you're just surrounded in this old Western style of living.
Right. Well, I didn't do it. I've done it. I've done that type of thing.
Like a
not
dude
in
ranch
that way.
kinda?
Not a dude ranch per se. I mean, I wasn't in that scenario, but I have done a week of getaway and leave your stuff behind.
Right, okay.
Like I wasn't reachable.
Right.
About a year ago, I had the opportunity to work with an organization called Outward Bound, and they have a division, I guess, of their organization where they provide veterans with a free week-long excursion of some type, some sort of adventure trip.
Okay.
And I was given the opportunity to go to Florida in December of 2015. And I went, let me think now. Yeah. No, I'm sorry, 2016. I don't know what day it is. Anyway, December 2016. They flew me, all expenses paid. They flew me down to Florida, like to the southwestern tip. And I went with a group of other vets, like 7 other vets and 2 instructors for 5 days. And we canoed through the Everglades.
Okay, that's right
through
up
the
your alley.
Keys. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love canoeing anyway.
Right.
So this was perfect. And it's two of us per canoe, and then we've got our canoes packed to the gills with all our gear.
Right.
And the first night we camped out in this little bay or whatever, this little cove that was all tucked into the trees and everything. It was surrounded by mandrake trees everywhere, right? And